Ron Josiah Taylor, AM, was a prominent Australian shark expert, as is his wife, Valerie May Taylor, and EAQT Heighes, AM. Their expertise has been called upon for films such as Jaws, Orca and Sky Pirates, Biography. Ron began diving in 1952, became interested in spearfishing and underwater photography, and in 1965, he won the World Spearfishing Championship in Tahiti after winning the Australian Open Spearfishing Championships for 4 years in succession. Valerie was born in Sydney, started diving in 1956 and spearfishing in 1960, eventually winning several Australian championships for ladies in both spearfishing and scuba. The couple met while both were members of the St George Spearfishing Club in Sydney. They became champion spearfishers, but switched from killing sharks to filming them after becoming fascinated with marine life. They married in December 1963 at Hurstville, NSW, and had no children. They made their living in the 1960s by making wetsuits and selling underwater cameras, plus doing artwork for magazines. The Taylors were credited with being pioneers in several areas, the first people to film great white sharks without the protection of a cage or anything else during the making of the series Blue Wilderness in January 1992, a huge milestone in ocean exploration, together with South Africans George Askew and Piet van der Walt, founders of the South African great white shark cage diving industry. They also filmed the shark sequences for the film Orca. The Taylors were also the first to film sharks by night. History. 1962, Ron's first major underwater film production, The Shark Hunters, made with diving and business partner Ben Kropp, was filmed in 16mm black, white, and was sold to Australian television. 1963, Shark Hunters was sold to American television. 1964, Slaughter at Saumarez, filmed in the Coral Sea from aboard Captain Wally Muller's fishing boat River Song. 1965, Ron won the World Spearfishing Championship in Tahiti after winning the Australian Championship for 4 years in succession. 1965, a joint venture with surfing film producer Paul Witzig produced Surf Scene featuring top surfers Robert Connelly, Russell Hughes, Kevin Brennan and Tanya Binning, surfing new locations at Noosa Heads and Double Island Point, Queensland. 1966, the Taylors sell the shark documentary Revenge of the Shark Victim to producer Robert Raymond, who wins a Logie for his adaptation with new footage. 1967, Ron and Valerie filmed The Cave Divers in the area surrounding Mount Gambier, South Australia. The Taylors, assisted by diver John Harding, film and photograph a large whale shark underwater off Sugarloaf Point, Seal Rocks, NSW. Ron first devised an idea of a diver wearing a full-length chainmail suit over a wetsuit as possible protection against shark bite. It was more than a decade before the suit was made and tested. The Taylors were employed by the Belgian scientific expedition to the Great Barrier Reef as advisors and 35mm underwater cinematographers. For 6 months, the first major educational project of this type on the Great Barrier Reef. 1969, Ron Taylor co-filmed Blue Water, White Death with Stan Waterman and Peter Gimble, which was released worldwide. 1974, the Taylors, assisted by Rodney Fox, filmed the live shark underwater sequences for Jaws. 1979, the suit of chainmail was made, which Valerie tested with sharks. When it was found the suit was too small for Ron, 1979. The Taylors filmed the underwater scenes with the principal actors and the body double for The Blue Lagoon. 1981. While on a dive trip, the Taylors discovered mining claims on several coral sea islands. They brought this to the attention of the Australian federal government and saved these remote bird breeding islands. 1982. Wreck of the Ungala, a TV documentary, was made, showcasing what was then the most spectacular of shipwrecks in shallow water. The film was instrumental in having the wreck protected from fishing. The Taylors, inspired by Cairns game fishing charter boat captain Peter Bristow, lobbied via the media, the Queensland government and national parks to have the potato cod of Cormorant Pass near Lizard Island protected. The Taylors spent 4 months of 1982 in the Persian Gulf filming the underwater scenes for 6 educational films featuring marine life. 1986. Valerie went to Sweden where she finalized the picture selection for a coffee table book, The Realm of the Shark. A biographical account of the Taylors lives between the late 1950s and the late 1980s. The Taylors supplied some of the pictures to illustrate the Jacques Cousteau coffee table book entitled Great White Shark. 1992. January. The couple traveled to South Africa for filming on the Blue Wilderness TV series. They tested an electronic shark-repelling barrier there. With George Askew and Pete van der Walt, they became the first people to film great white sharks underwater without using a cage. 1993. Shadow over the Reef, an adventure swimming with whale sharks, was filmed at Ningaloo Reef, Western Australia. This film was instrumental in preventing the test drilling for oil inside the Ningaloo Marine Park. 1997. The Taylors' documentary Shark Pod was completed. They successfully used the protective oceanic device invented in South Africa by Norman Starkey of the Natal Sharks Board against great white sharks, tiger sharks, hammerhead sharks, and other shark species. 1999. Release of the film Shadow of the Shark, which reviews Ron and Valerie's long relationship with the sea, and particularly their efforts to change public opinion of sharks as mindless predators. The film was directed by Tina Dalton Haggage. 2008. Ron Taylor supports the Great Australian Shark Count. 2012. Ronald Taylor dies on the 9th of September 2012, aged at 78, following a 2-year battle with acute myeloid leukemia. 2014. Valerie campaigns against an opposition bill to remove sanctuary zones from marine parks in South Australia. Works. Filmography. Documentary films Playing with Sharks for Movietone News, 1962. Shark Hunters, 1963, with Ben Kropp. Slaughter at Saumarez, 1964. Skindiving Paradise, 1965. Revenge of a Shark Victim, 1965, about Rodney Fox. Surf Scene, 1965. Will the Barrier Reef Cure Claude Clough? 1966. Belgian Scientific Expedition, 1967. The Underwater World of Ron Taylor, 1967, presented by John Harding Underwater Promotions. The Cave Divers, 1967, for WD and AMP-HO. Wills. Sharks, 1975, for Time Live Television. The Great Barrier Reef, 1978, for Time Live Television. The Wreck of the Ungala, 1981. The Great Barrier Reef, 1982. Technical Consultants. Operation Shark Bite, 1982. Give Sharks a Chance, 1991, with Richard Dennison for National Geographic Society and the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Shark Shocker, 1993, for Channel 4 UK. Shadow over the Reef, 1993. Mystique of the Pole, for Film Australia, 1995. Shark Pod, 1996. Shadow of the Shark, 1999, for Australian Geographic. television series and movies Skippy the Bush Kangaroo, Episode 3 Golden Reef, Original Story and AMP, Episode 57 The Shark Taggers, Underwater Sequences, Contrabandits, 1967-68, Underwater Sequences and Diving Instruction for Cast, Barrier Reef, 1971-1972, Direction of Underwater Photography, Stunt Work and Minor Acting Roles, Taylor's Inner Space, 1972-1973 with soundtrack composed by Sven Libak and narration by William Shatner. Those Amazing Animals, 1981 contributed to underwater segments. Fortress, 1985, Underwater Sequences, Blue Wilderness, 1992, with Richard Dennison for National Geographic and the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Flipper, 1995 series, Underwater Still Photography. Films Age of Consent, 1968. The Intruders, 1969. Blue Water, White Death, 1971. Jaws, 1975. Orca, 1976. Live Shark Sequences. The Last Wave, 1977. Underwater Sequences. Jaws 2, 1978. Gallipoli, 1981. Underwater Sequences. A Dangerous Summer, 1982. Underwater Sequences. Year of Living Dangerously, 1982. The Blue Lagoon, 1980. Underwater Sequences. The Silent One, 1983. Sky Pirates, 1984. Underwater Sequences. Frog Dreaming, 1986. The Rescue, for Walt Disney, 1987. Return to the Blue Lagoon, 1990. Underwater Sequences. Honeymoon in Vegas, 1991. Underwater Sequences. Police Story 4. First Strike, 1995. Underwater Sequences. The Island of Dr. Moreau, 1995. Live Shark Sequences. Bibliography Taylor, Ron Taylor's Shark Fighters, Underwater in Color, John Harding Underwater Promotions, Glebe and S.W. Taylor, Ron and AMP, Valerie, Ron and Valerie Taylor's Underwater World, Ure Smith, Sydney. Taylor, Ron and AMP, Valerie, Sangosho no Taiwa, Tokyo. Taylor, Ron and AMP, Valerie, Godby, Peter, Editors, Great Shark Stories, Collins, London, England. Taylor, Valerie, The Great Shark Suit Experiment, Ron Taylor Film Productions. Taylor, Ron and AMP, Valerie, Kroll, Ian Editor, The Great Barrier Reef, Nature's Gift to Australia, Australia's Gift to the World, Beer Productions, Cairns. Taylor, Ron and AMP, Valerie, Godby, Peter, Editors, Great Shark Stories, Crowwood Press, Marlborough, England. Taylor, R. and AMP, Taylor, V. Sharks, Silent Hunters of the Deep, Reader's Digest Pty Limited, Surrey Hills, and SW, Australia. Taylor, Ron and AMP, Valerie, Papua New Guinea Marine Fishes, Robert Brown and AMP Associates, Bathurst, and SW. Taylor, Ron and AMP, Valerie, Blue Wilderness, Fourth Day Publishing. Awards, honors and other recognitions. Ron Taylor 1962 Encyclopaedia Britannica Award for Playing with Sharks. 1966 The NOGI Statuette for Education and Sports. 1993 SSI Platinum Pro 5000 Diver. 2003 Member of the Order of Australia. Citation, for service to conservation and the environment through marine cinematography and photography, by raising awareness of endangered and potentially extinct marine species, and by contributing to the Declaration of Species and Habitat Protection. Valerie Taylor 1981 NOGI Award for Arts, Academy of Underwater Arts and AMP Sciences. 1986 Order of the Golden Ark presented by His Royal Highness, Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands. 1993 SSI Platinum Pro 5000 Diver. 1997 American Nature Photographer of the Year Award for a picture of a whale shark swimming with her nephew in Ningaloo Marine Park. 2000 Membership of the American Women Divers Hall of Fame. 2001 the Centenary Medal and the Australian Senior Achiever of the Year. 2010 Member of the Order of Australia. Citation. For service to conservation and the environment as an advocate for the protection and preservation of marine wildlife and habitats, particularly the Great Barrier Reef and Ningaloo Reef, and as an underwater cinematographer and photographer. Ron and Valerie Taylor. 1992 Australian Geographic Adventurer of the Year. 1997 the Jury Award for the film Shark Pod at the Antibes Underwater Festival, France. 1998 the Golden Palm Award for the book Blue Wilderness at the 25th World Festival of Underwater Pictures in Antibes, France. 2000 International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame. 2002 Wildlife Preservation Society of Australia Cervantes Conservation Medal. 2008 Australian Geographic Lifetime of Conservation Award. 2011 Australian Cinematographers Society Hall of Fame. Life membership of the St George Spearfishing and AMP Freediving Club Inc. 2012 renaming of the newly declared Neptune Islands Group Marine Park surrounding the Neptune Islands in South Australia to the Neptune Islands Group Marine Park.